Pigs, who are one of my bands, one of my bigger bands. And now Pigs are one of the bigger bands on Rocket. You know, we're going to do 2 shows, 1,300 capacity, like in a row. So 2,500 people, hopefully.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. Pig's success has been amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of radio support and stuff like that. Because I work with loads of bands that I think are amazing, but most of them people don't care about them.
The US tour was cancelled this year.
Yes, unfortunately, Corona's been bad timing for everyone, but it's been particularly bad timing for people who were like due to release their big album in April. And with a 100 dates of tours booked or whatever, or 70 dates of shows booked for 2020. It's not ideal. It's not been ideal for anyone, but especially when that's your big album. They were already getting popular, but Rocket was putting a lot of money into it. Everybody was like, this is the one, we're going to do this. But what can you do?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, so where were we? So
I think we can say a little bit about the Rocket 20, the festival that you organized as well.
Yeah, that was great. So when was this? 2018?
Yeah.
Exactly. So in 2018, Chris and John from Rocket Recordings got in touch with me, and they said they wanted to organize a festival, sort of type event for the 20th anniversary of the label. I run an event called Raw Power Festival, which has been running for 7 years. It's an indoor event, 2 stages, bigger one, smaller one, in a courtyard. And they were like, it's about 800 people. And they were like, something like that would work perfect. And I jumped at the opportunity, because of it'll be really fun. And also some of those bands are bands that I don't normally work with, but who would be willing to come over because it's the anniversary of the label. Go to a band who played the Roundhouse, played Brixton Academy, but this was a place that only fits 600 people. I couldn't afford them under a normal circumstance.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we worked with them, and we worked with DHP, who's who's a UK venue owner and promoters, and we put together something really, really fun.
Yeah, beast of a festival.
Yeah, exactly. So we have, for people who don't know, I don't know how many know the bands of its names that people know, but we had Goat, Teeth of the Sea, Nod were a headliner on a day. We had all of the side projects of Nod, obviously. We had Gnoomes, we had the
Simple and Ziolek.
Simple Ziolek played, exactly. The Temple of BVK, or whatever, that kind.
BVV, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. BV. So what is that record?
I don't remember the name of the record, but they are very loud bands.
Most of the bands are loud bands. Yeah, exactly. And exactly. Simple Ziolek played. They never ended up doing a record on Rocket, did they?
No.
I have the records on Instant Classic.
But
it's not going anymore. I spoke to Kuba the other day. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that also, I guess, leads on a bit to Raw Power Festival.
Yeah.
I do there. When you're a concert promoter and you have a big roster of bands, sometimes it feels natural to be like, okay, I'm going to bring everyone in one place. I'm going to do a big event and we're going to have a great time. And that's what we've been doing since 2014. It's not really worth it money-wise, because if you're a festival promoter, it's the festival is your big thing of the year. You book bands and everyone comes together. But if you're a normal concert promoter, you're kind of stealing your own bands, if that makes sense, because they're the same ones that you promote anyway. But we've had 7 years. We've had 7 great years. We've had headliners like Godflesh, Melt Banana, Nod, Loop, Afarampo, Acid Mother's Temple, Boningen, Part Chimp, millions and millions of lots of my favorite bands. And we have a wonderful team that run it. Like the first year I did all the jobs. After that, great team do all the jobs, and I just get drunk and watch the bands.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we were lucky enough to visit the one in 2019. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the last one we did, because obviously the 2020 edition didn't happen, did it? Yeah, I've got a sort of poster on my wall over here. So like I wear glasses normally, but I can't. I don't wear them for using the computer. But it's over there. Yeah, the X, Nod, ones like that. They were 2 of the headliners, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a spectacular night. Can you say us a little bit more about Raw Power? During all these years that you are working on this festival, were there emergencies, I guess?
Sure. There's always stuff that happens that is unexpected. Someone misses a flight and you have to change the schedule. This is something that'll happen once every year or two. Some backline breaks and you have to get some new amps in. Someone's hotel is supposed to be there, but it's not. And you got to go to like some travel lodge and explain to them that you have 15 rooms booked. Please don't cancel my bookings. I've got 15 rooms worth of people coming. They just haven't checked in yet because they're all down here. Like they're all coming. Yeah, exactly. I will check into all these rooms. Give me some keys. But generally we have a really great team of people who work on that. Gracie O'Byrne is the production manager, and we've done it many years. And we're overstaffed as well. Other events like that have like 2 or 3 people. We have like 10 staff. And that means that everybody can have a good time, basically, and I don't have to worry about it because of this is what is more important. I have a saying that like DIY, like we're a DIY company. It's just me and Ben basically, and we bring in people for stuff. But it doesn't mean that you do it shit or you do it cheap. It just means that you're doing it on your own terms.
Yeah.
Doing what you want because that's what you like to do. And everyone who's playing the festival is playing the festival because I want them to play the festival, and I think that we're going to have a great time. But it doesn't mean that you don't, provide first-class hospitality, a good equipment, places to live, and just general good production. Because I think small festivals, sometimes people they have bad experiences. But hopefully we only give good experiences. Also, a little thing from when I started, there's a small thing that I didn't mention, is that I went to the same school as Simon Taff, who runs End of the Road Festival.
Oh, I see.
And End of the Road is a festival of 20,000 people in the UK. He was a couple of years above me, but in 2006, when the festival started, I didn't have a job. I was a builder at the time. I wasn't working much. I can't remember. And I helped, we went around loads of festivals doing promotion for the festival. So I think just sort of, we've never worked together at all ever on music, but definitely I think that sort of stuff was, I'd seen people that I knew were doing shows, were doing music. He wasn't doing shows, but he was doing festival, but same sort of thing.
Yeah, I know that you are also involved in this festival in Portugal.
Yeah, Milhões de Festa.
Yeah,
absolutely. Milhões isn't going anymore, or isn't for right now. But we had like some wonderful years. Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember how it first happened. I don't know how we became friends or what happened. But like all of these things, the people who run that are not just a festival. They have a record label, Lovers and Lollipops. They book tours. They manage bands and stuff like that. So I think maybe I was a fan of one of their bands, Black Bombay or something like that, and we got to know each other, and they liked what I was doing, and they liked what I blah blah blah, and they were like, do you want to bring some bands over for the festival for the first year? For my first year, they'd already been going for 7 or 8 years before them. And I brought over Flamingods, who I was managing at the time, The Comet Is Coming, who are now big band, 2,500 people in London come to see Comet Is Coming, and Soccer 96. And they loved the bands that I booked, and we had a brilliant time, and it became a fixture of my calendar ever since. And a bunch of friends come over from England. This is a festival which has like a sort of swimming pool, and a swimming pool, like a stage by the swimming pool, and it's fucking glorious.
Yeah, I've seen the photos. Yeah.
But it also just has 2 big stages, not big. It's a small festival of like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, but a good amount of people. But these guys this is their hometown. This is where they're from, and they did that festival from when they were 18. And they're now probably, I don't know, 31, 32 or something, and they did 12 editions of the festival from 18 to 30. So yeah, they're great guys.
So speaking of Raw Power Festival, you first year you organized it in one place and then you moved to another.
Basically,
Right.
The first year of Raw Power, the one that was at Corsica Studios, this was not organized by me. This was organized by Adrian before I was there.
Oh, I see.
I actually DJ'd that event
Mhm.
because they knew me and they were like, do you want to come and DJ? And I was like, yeah, great. And I DJ'd in the room too. And I played around the band Snapped Ankles. And Snapped Ankles are now one of the biggest bands on Baba Yagas. We have them playing the Roundhouse in April next year, so 3,000 capacity. So yeah, there better be no COVID. Big money. Yeah, but so that was cool. That was, as I said, that wasn't organized by me. The festival sold out and it still lost money, and something's not done right when it sells all the tickets and it still doesn't work out. But it was an artistic triumph with Boningham, Parchimp, Trans Am, Snapped Ankles. I can't remember some other bands. I had an excellent time. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
But then you changed the location. You last time you did it at the Dome.
We've done it every year at the Dome.
Okay.
Since after the Dome is a sort of it's an old sort of music hall basically. It's on the ground floor. It's a big Irish pub, and then the next to it is a smaller room, 300 capacity, and then above it is the hall that fits 600. And then it's got a courtyard in the middle. So it's cool because you can have one band upstairs, break, people can hang around in the courtyard, and another band plays downstairs, and people can move around the venue like that. And if there's a band on that they don't want to see, just have a drink or whatever. And yeah, it's been cool. It's been a lot of fun. We were happening in August this year. So
what do you think? Will it happen?
I think so. I'm currently operating as if it's on. Yeah. Like we have some American bands who I'm not expecting to play, like Sunburned Hand of the Man, Enablers, Helen Money. All of those are basically out as far as I'm concerned. But I think it's going to be okay. I think the current sort of Corona feeling, if you're an optimist, and I'm an optimist, you have to be an optimist to be a promoter. No pessimist has ever booked bands. We're currently thinking from May, I think. But I did a big Zoom with a lot of festival promoters and people from all across Europe, like the promoter of Primavera and Roskilde and Tallinn Music Week and lots of stuff like that. And most of these are all operating as if they're on this year. There's a sort of 1 30-second COVID test that's coming, €5 or something. So this is one thing. So I don't know, man. I've had a lot of time off. Like I haven't done a lot of work this year. I wasn't like one of those people who was like really keen to like, book shitloads of stuff and just hope. I was just like, it's cool. I've been promoting 100 shows a year for the last 12 years or something, like that's cool. I can have some time off. It's all right. I'm gonna play Skyrim and play chess and go for sports.
And that's fine. Yeah. And you had some time to do your radio shows. Yeah.
Well, we've kept the podcast going. The Independent Music Podcast has still been going every week. We are up to episode 305 now, I think. So the podcast has nothing to do with Baba Yagas or anything like that. It's just me and my friend Gareth. Yeah. We've been doing that, for the best part of 10 years now. NTS I still do, but Igor Cavalera of Sepultura, Pet Brick, etc. has been covering a bunch of my shows just because of I didn't have a good home recording setup, but I'm back to doing it now. My show on Resonance FM every week. I haven't been doing this because this was pretty Baba Yaga centric. I was playing artists that I had booked for shows, and I don't have anything booked for shows. So that's not true. We had a show last week. We had Teeth of the Sea last week, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it looked absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've seen the footage with all those lights.
Yeah, it's cool, eh?
Yeah.
What is the situation for shows in Russia?
It's getting tougher for people, but I mean, we played a festival in September in Moscow, and it was not a small one.
Like full capacity.
Yeah, but we were playing the opening night, and it was around 700 people, I guess. Yeah. So
Fun.
yeah, it's still going on, but now the government basically they started to shut down the venues. But there is no, I mean, there is no strict policy. What should the promoters and the clubs do?
Yeah, no, that's all you ever ask for is certainty.
It's very controversial.
Just tell me exactly what I need to do, and I will do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I will not. If I look at it, I know exactly what I need to do, and I think that it's impossible, then that's cool. I'm gonna fucking stay at home. I'm gonna watch TV. You know, like it's fine.
Yeah, that's I guess that's the main thing, and it really sucks.
Yeah, that's a shame because of that's basically what we've had on and off here, but at least I've kind of felt like I have a handle of what's going on most of the time. You know, it's just like, so I've done 5 shows, I think, all distanced. You know, like we can't do full capacity, not even really. Hopefully, I will do Hey Colossus in February. And I like to have one show on sale. If I have at least one show on sale, then I have something to look forward to. Well, not one, I've got loads of shows on sale, but one that's actually going to happen soon. And then at least it's cool. You know, at least I've got that one show to look forward to. We can work towards it and stuff.
I've said you have one more show at the Strong Room. Yeah.
No, I did 2 shows at Strong Rooms in August and September.
Okay, I see.
And they were great, especially the first one. Like it was in mid-August, and we'd had a lockdown then, you know, pretty strict. Most people not really going out at all, apart from to go for a short walk. And then it relaxed a bit, and we could do a show. It was outside. Everybody was sitting at tables that were apart, and we booked some music, and it was a celebratory atmosphere. Because the thing with Baba Yagas is that we are the kind of person that comes to our night is that the kind of person who goes to a lot of shows. You know, we have, you know, our people who go to at least 50 shows a year, you know, maybe more, some up to 3 shows a year. This is not like, we don't book big bands who people are going to go to 1 or 2 shows a year. You know, that's cool, but that's not our audience, you know. So a lot of people who are used to going to a lot of shows, this is a big hole in their life. So it was important to me to hopefully be able to bring something back for me to look forward to and for them. And yeah, it was an amazing atmosphere. Everybody got extremely drunk. We watched some great music. Good times was had.
Was it at the beer garden? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Basically, Strong Rooms is a bar. I used to DJ there in there. It's got an indoor bit, but it's got quite a big courtyard, which is normally like the smoking area, the beer garden, whatever. But it doesn't normally have a stage in it. But we hired in a stage and we stuck some PA in there, and it was fun. Yeah.
Last week we had Jake Murray, and that's why I think it's cool.
Yes. Yeah. I saw on socials that he was doing it. Yeah. So yeah, Jake, it has nothing to do with the kind of that part of the business that I was working with for that, but he's always there in the studio.
Yeah.
Recording bands and stuff. So yeah, he was hanging out. Yeah. I know Jake from Echoes and Dust as well. The music website. It's like, I don't know, his brother writes for it, and I think he writes for it.
Yeah. Chad.
Yeah, Chad, the very enthusiastic music man.
Yeah, and they're both big fans of yours, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they both come to the shows, comes to plenty of shows and stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool. So I know I'm excited to hopefully. The thing is that whenever we get the go ahead, whenever they're like, okay, cool, you can do shows. You know, we're gonna book all the shows. You know, it's fine. I don't need to worry about it now. I will do all the work in 1 week. I'll be like, fucking, like, let's do this. You know. But I have stuff on sale for next year. I have Finesse playing with Scanner in Earth. What I'm trying to do for my shows in April and May is do them in seated venues where we have the option to do full capacity or 2 sets distanced.
Okay, I see.
So in March or something, we can make a call and we can be like, okay, this is going to be full capacity if we think we can, or if we can't, fine. We split it to 2 shows. We do reduced capacity. We do Corona friendly. Like that's my current plan. And yeah.
It's like the proper plan.
Exactly, that's the plan. Like Anna von Hauswolf is supposed to be coming over in May to do her performance on the organ, and I've found a church with a wonderful pipe organ for her to play on. And exactly, we can do 1 set of 300 or maybe 2 of 125 or something. So
I'd like to ask you about the NTS podcast, NTS show.
Sure.
Are you doing it live usually, or you record it at home?
Normally, I always do NTS live. I do all my radio shows live. It just varies between the people. Some people like to pre-record, but me, I like to play. I've got records. I tend to just fill up a box of records and then go up and do it. It's nice if it's more spontaneous. I'm not really a tech guy. I'm not so good on setting all that stuff up at home. And you also just get to talk to the listeners live, don't you?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a medium should be live, if possible. Because of it's not only the podcast is that's the thing, people listen to it on demand, but hopefully you want to engage with your listeners and have that they can interact with you and there'd be someone there. Not that everybody normally does. I'm like not one of the most popular DJs on NTS, but I've been there since the start.
So vinyl only,
and now NTS
vinyl only.
Popular. It depends. I do USB as well. It depends, but basically I only vinyl only for years, and now they got a bit more digital over the last couple of years. I had 5 years ago I DJ'd a wedding in Brazil, and obviously I wasn't going to bring my records over there, so I copied everything onto USB, and I was like, mate, this is magic. It's so light. Doesn't weigh anything. So it's been gradually going that way.
Smart man.
So now it's a mixture, but still for radio, I still think that records is pretty easy. So if you're going to be DJing 5 hours in the nighttime and bring out 2 big boxes of vinyl and stuff like that, maybe USB is easier, but whatever. It's just about personal preference, isn't it? It's just about there is no correct medium. It doesn't matter shit. It's just about bringing really good music to people, hopefully.
Yeah, and I found it really interesting that sometimes when you are not able to do a show, you invite friends to do it instead of you.
Yeah, exactly. So Jimmy from Teeth of the Sea covered for me a number of times. My friend Tom Relene, who's now sadly departed, he covered for me a number of times. Igor Cavalera's been covering. Yeah, just NTS is quite a popular radio station now.
Yeah, it is.
The reason why I'm there is just basically because I joined the station 6 months in. So I've been doing it nearly since the start. But there is loads of incredible music people who maybe wouldn't get a look in to do a show, who just like, oh yeah, come in. I know fucking Igor Cavalera of Sepultura, a fucking famous guy. I was like, oh, Igor, cover my show for 2 or 3 shows, and then they'll definitely give you a show. No, they didn't give him a show. I don't understand. They won't give him a show. He's really disappointed. And his show's really good as well. It's not just that he's famous metal drummer. His radio show is also excellent.
Yeah.
What can you say?
He's got a really, really great musical taste.
Yeah. No, that guy is a real music fan. He doesn't have anything else going on, apart from just his love for music. Really, that's what is everything that he is about. No, it's great. I love that guy.
Yeah, great. Can we talk a little bit about the Russian bands, the Russian invasion? Yeah, because the last 5 years, there are loads of bands who plays in the UK, and you are the one who, not the one, but one of the people who helps the bands to play in London.
Sure. Yeah, so we worked together for the first time in 2016, where we did a small show in North London. That venue is not there anymore, by the way. That is now a Brewdog pub. After that, I worked with a band called Mirrored Lips for many times. Mirrored Lips, one of my favorite bands in the whole world. I don't know what they're doing right now. Sasha has been doing some solo music, sort of weird experimental minimal techno. but I haven't heard like an actual Mirrored Lips release in maybe a year. But if you just go on there, if you just look for Mirrored Lips Bandcamp, you know, whatever, it's there, bunch of releases.
Yeah, last year we were supposed to meet in St. Petersburg, but unfortunately we were not able to do this.
Yeah, it's essentially drums, guitar, amazing guitarist, like really, really inventive, unusual style, and a singer who, it's funny, when I originally sort of told them what a big fan of the band I was, they were like, oh, we were worried that non-Russian speakers wouldn't get it because of her lyrics are incredible, apparently it's pure poetry. And I was like, obviously it doesn't mean anything to me, but I think this is something that a lot of non-English speaking bands are worried about, and it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter at all. It's just like, you know, I'm not saying that lyrics don't matter. Having good lyrics can be cool, but often when you don't understand it, you bring your own interpretation, your own thoughts of what could be going on to the song, and it's just about the sound. And I don't think it really matters. They played Raw Power twice, and we did a number of other shows. And yeah, hopefully come back again some.
And
Lucidvox.
Yeah, they don't have a label, do they?
They were on this label from up north called, oh God, it's a tape label. Let me have a quick look. Okay. Because that was how I originally heard of them. The label got in touch with me.
I see. So about a label who got in touch.
They are not a popular label. They are up north. They are an English label though.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They did a tape with them. Oh God, my laptop's going crazy. Okay. Wow, they've got like 20. It's not going to be exciting for me to go through that. But they were released on a small northern label, and that was how I originally heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then since then we've done many stuff together. Then Lucidvox I've been putting on recently. They signed with a German label called Glitterbeat that often releases more party music, African music and stuff like that, and they are definitely unusual on their roster. But yeah, they're really cool and really young as well. I don't know how old they are, but probably 20 or 22 or something. Maybe a bit older.
Yeah,
older now. Like, this was
30, something like this.
No way. There's no way they were 30. I know I'm getting older and it's hard to tell how old they are now, but they must be younger than that. I was like, they look like teenagers to me. Anyway, they were great. Lucidvox. We did that one show, and I think we were going to do another one, but maybe Corona cancelled. I like Jazz, the punk band from Moscow, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Moscow.
I haven't put them on yet, but we've talked a couple of times, and you know, hopefully we can make it happen. I don't know if anyone's gonna come and see them, but this is not going to be a headline show. Maybe someone we could get on for Raw Power or something else.
Do you think there is something in particular in Russian music?
Do I think there's something in particular in Russian music? I'm not sure. I just think that basically,
obviously you mentioned that you you don't understand the lyric. It's all about the sound.
And Jazz is like a sort of really strong punk energy in that. But you know, like everything, you know, Russia's a huge country with all styles from punk to metal to techno to classical or whatever, you know, represented in one form or another. I think it's really stupid to say like the internet, but I think essentially just with better distribution of online music over the last 10 or 15 years, it's been made possible for bands from countries that would otherwise not have a chance to tour. Yeah. And now they can. It's just, you know, if some obscure goth band from Belarus can pick up fans and come and tour, and that's great. You know, maybe it is bubbling up in Russia more than somewhere else. Certainly when one or two bands gets more popular, they tend to drag the other ones with it. You know, these things can happen. Or other bands are like, wow, they made this tour happen, maybe I can make this tour happen. Or a record label signs a Rush band, it does well, they're like, sign our friends. Well, just look at Rocket Recordings, why they've got like 20 Swedish bands on the roster. That's only because, they signed Goat. Goat did really well. And then the guys from Goat are like, have you heard my friends? Like, like friends those? And John are like, wow, that sounds great. Let's sign them too.
Yeah, but I think that Chris and Johnny, they are really big fans of the Swedish music, like the 60s garage sort of.
Sure, trad
rock,
that lot. Of course, I'm not saying it's only like that, but of course there is millions of amazing bands in the world everywhere. One thing I've learned doing the podcast is just like there is incredible music released in all styles everywhere, and who you are to work with or something, it's often just down. The little difference can just be of luck or a bit of coincidence, or something that means you end up working with one and not the other, and you think all this music's incredible. Man, it's just like the amount of music that I think is amazing that I hear every day, everywhere. It's just like unbelievable. But which ones do I think I get the UK to actually make a show work? We don't have any external funding. Some places are different for that. Some places across Europe get more funding. I've got no idea what the art situation is in Russia, but we're just a standard business. Like we sell tickets, we have to sell more tickets than it costs, and if we do that, then we're doing it.
It's the same in Russia, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So trying to choose the ones that I hope I can make a show work, and I hope we can have a good ethos of style. Personally, I listen to all sorts of music, but Baba Yaga's Hut itself has more of its roots in psychedelic rock, experimental, noise rock, jazz. In the left field reaches of music. We don't really do pop bands, so to speak. And it's not even that I think these bands aren't good. It's just that's not what Baba Yaga's is about specifically. I play all sorts of music on the podcast.
Yeah, and I've seen a few tweets from you probably half year ago. You said that you're trying to produce more merch.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is that we've got some government support, some money during COVID. But overall, I have no money. I'm not earning anything. So I'm like, it's time to finally get out the Baba Yaga's t-shirts, to try to sell some. So we've done some t-shirts. We've done, other stuff like that. We just did a compilation, which did really well. So very, very lovely of some bands for donating us music for that.
Was it helpful?
Yeah, we sold 137 copies. It was great.
Cool.
It's wonderful. Yeah. No, I'm like, when I think about it, this year, it's hard to imagine how it could be worse to be a promoter, but I'm still here, I'm not looking for a new job. I'm still, renting the same flat that I rented before, like it's okay. Like I'm very much in there. So that's cool. We had that before, like in 2018, I was due to do 2 shows with Harold Budd, the ambient artist who just died last week.
Oh yeah.
And I had 2 nights booked at Union Chapel. It was going to be this is a church that holds about 1,000 people. And this was due to be basically the biggest show I've ever done, like 1,800 people, £25 a ticket. One was sold out, one was nearly sold out, and he cancelled 3 days before. And we lost a lot of money. But then, we had Cocaine Piss over from Belgium, like 5 days later. They got paid. We had a great night. I wasn't bankrupt. And I was like, wow, it's hard to imagine how this could be worse. And yet I'm still here. So cool. That's great. So I'm like to think that I'm feeling now that, that we're solid. I want to, touch wood, and we could have some other disaster, but, I feel like that we're strong. We have a good audience of people who comes to our shows. We have a, stable audience of fans, of people who love Baba Yagas. We have bigger bands than we used to. We have Snapped Ankles playing the Roundhouse. We're going to have Burn into Club of Gore playing at the Barbican. We have our 2 shows with Pigs at Electric Ballroom, 2,500 people. And, we're a small punk promoter, really. We still do 100 capacity shows and 200 capacity shows. And, so it's cool to be able to get to a point where we have these bigger shows so that we're financially stable. We can, no shows all year. Be here. Optimism can be, like I remember in July, I was just like, we're definitely going to have big shows in October. And like the entire rest of the music industry was like, no fucking way. And I was like, I think you're wrong. And they were right. So, my optimism can be misplaced.
Do you usually get emails from people who wants to organize a show for them?
Yeah, but get quite a lot of bands and stuff getting in touch for sure. How I tend to operate more is that, like, I have booking agents and sorry, my laptop's being a bit crazy. I have booking agents and labels and management companies that I work with. Like I work with a lot of rocket bands. I have some booking agencies that I promote a lot of their bands. So I've been doing this for 12 years now. I have a lot of bands that I've promoted all of their London shows for many years. So if Buren's a Club of Gore want a tour, the agent gets in touch with me and says, hey man, Buren wants to come. Or if Nod are going to do their show, et cetera. And then it's obviously you want to pick up new bands. So be it small bands who email me, who hear me from somewhere, or if someone recommends a project, then you want to try to not get too stale. Try to pick up new bands that you think sound great while keeping your roster in there that you like. Christ almighty, my keyboard is my mouse is just clicking over and over and over, and it's like I'm keeping worried that it's going to close this meeting. I don't know. I've literally never done this before. But there we go. It looks stable. Yeah. So I try to reply to everybody who gets in touch with me. I think that's really important. I'm sure some promoters and all that don't bother replying to stuff after a while because they're too big. I think it's, if someone gets in touch with you, it doesn't much, at least like listen. Music. I have a great network of amazing music fans. So if someone will be like, oh man, I've just heard this great Russian punk band, Jazz, you should book them or something. This is what Tim is, a guy who comes to my shows. He was like, I love this band, because I think he used to teach English in Moscow, so he kind of knew more Russian bands than more people around here. So so I feel very lucky that I've got so many great music fans to pass along. Exactly. Swamp Booking, I book loads of bands on that agency. Julie Tipex.
Do you think, is it possible for a Russian band to send you a demo, for example, and you can play it on your podcast?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, for the podcast, I'd normally just check out the submissions via the Facebook chat. We had things coming to email, but it just wasn't working. But basically, like once every 2 weeks, I listen to all the submissions. So it's just independent music podcast on there. But I can't remember off the top of my head who was the last Russian bands that we played. But we play music from everywhere. And we've certainly, played all sorts of Russian music, I'm sure. And it's the same with Baba Yagas. I mean, if you're a Russian band that is relatively unknown, you're not going to get paid a lot of money. Probably no one's going to fund your trip. But if I really liked it or something, and you'd be like, okay, well, if you're here, I can get you to open a show for 100 quid or something. Like this is something that can happen.
Yeah.
This is obviously not the same if I'm booking a touring band that's someone that I really, that's going to headline a show. It's completely different.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I don't really know what the new rules are going to be post Brexit and stuff like that. It's still completely possible. It's just like, it's I feel like it's kind of 10% harder in every aspect, something like that. Maybe 20%. Yeah, I guess that's true. For Russians, it makes no fucking difference. Yeah. But even then, I think basically for Russians, we just use the normal certificate of sponsorship, which is the same way that we get American bands and Japanese bands in. It's just very simple, to be honest. Like Baba Yaga's is registered as a company, as you said, when we processed your permits. We are registered as a company that can process permits for bands. It's not hard. It's not expensive.
Still, it's quite expensive for us. I mean, 1,000
for your visas. Yes. How much does it cost?
Working visa.
Yeah.
You mean?
No. Just if you're going to come over, if Gnoomes comes over for a tour.
Yeah, I think it will cost around $1,000. For
the band or per member?
For the band, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's not cheap if you're an underground band.
Yeah, I mean 1,200, something like this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And you need to pay just for visas,
Sure. Because the reason why I'm not aware of this for people is like how basically I'm the London promoter. So normally you'll have an agent who takes care of the whole UK tour, and that'll sort of be incorporated as to part of the whole thing. So we would do a contribution towards the visa costs or something like that.
Luckily or not, I don't know, but we book ourselves shows in the UK by ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah, and thanks to Rocket Recordings, we got this network of people who are really interested in getting us play.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, we'll get you back soon, buddy.
Yeah, we'd love to. I mean, we have some stuff, some new stuff. When hopefully next year we're gonna record it, but who knows?
Nice. I'm not sure, like, how if the people who are watching this are sort of people who are interested in doing shows and stuff like that, and every country has its sort of slight differences in rules and stuff like that. But I always just feel that, how I got into doing shows really is I didn't really explain it. I was cooking all that, but like in 2007, 2008, 2009, I was going to like 350 shows a year. I was like an every night of the week guy for gigs, and you become immersed in the scene. It was cool. I lived in East London with my friend Sebastian, who's a German guy who, I met him at shows, and we ended up we both needed to move at the same time. And we ended up starting a record label together at the time, Robot Elephant. And yeah, we just went to shows just every night. That's what we did. And when you really get immersed in the scene, you meet the bands, you meet the people who go to gigs, you see what people are popular, you meet the people who run venues. And I know going to that many gigs, it's not feasible for everybody, or it's not something, but it wasn't expensive, you know what I mean? We're talking gigs that are under £10. And once you start becoming a fixture and you're a promoter, then everybody puts you on the guest list anyway. So you can sort of, really get a part of it. And that was basically how I got involved. Like, I was not, even now, I don't really consider myself part of the music industry sort of so much, like I don't know people at labels, and I don't know any of these press people, and I don't know much of that stuff. I know people in live music, I know people who go to gigs. I know people who run venues. I know people who work behind the bars, and I know loads of people in bands. Like that sort of, I don't know much about government funding or European festivals apart from Milosh. But I think that's just the way in. There's no substitute for it, for just immersing yourself in whatever's your local scene. And if there isn't any local scene, then you can just start booking shows. It's just so cheap. You find somewhere for some small place, that doesn't cost very much, and you say, I can get I can get 30 friends, 50 friends in here, and then you book a couple of people to play and you do it. And hopefully if you do a good show, people want to come to the next one.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't have to have any kind of education. You don't have to have any business experience. I think you just have to love music, and you have to be willing to lose money. like I don't know, like obviously you have to be able to stick in there, you know, because of if you stick in like anything else and you stick at it for long enough, then you know you become good enough, because if you've been doing it for a while, and now you can kind of, and bands trust you because of, and other bands come to you, you know, like Snapped Ankles, for example, the biggest band who were doing it, the Roundhouse, they were working with another promoter, Eat Your Own Ears, who's a big promoter, you know, but they did a show for them, it sold out, and they just said they treated them like shit. They just didn't give them any free beers, and they called them bring your own beers. and then they were like, Anthony, can we go back to doing shows with you? I was like, yeah, of course, yeah, like, you know, I'll fucking buy you dinner and pay you properly and get you cold beers. and now we're doing a show of 3,000 people, you know. So
yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it works if you stick it out. I also think that with the radio and with the podcast and all that stuff, it's just also just people just start to know your name, and you start to get out there. But it's just because, you know, music was just what I was doing. You know, I just, you know, I loved it. When I was younger, you know, all I wanted to do ever was to be in bands. I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to be in bands. But then as I got older, I just realized that it wasn't really for me. But then again, though, what's funny is that I used to love playing solo finger picking steel string guitar. Sit by myself, finger picking, experimental bluegrassy stuff. And I love doing that, but like no one liked that. And I didn't know anyone who was remote.
How do you know?
Yeah, I didn't know anyone that was remotely interested in my music. No, people that I knew, I didn't know anyone. And now sometimes I think that now that I know loads and loads of people in experimental music, I'll be like, well, I think there's probably an audience for that. You know, like I think there is someone around who likes that. But this was 15 years ago, and I'm pretty shit now anyway. And I work with loads of people who are much better than me. And I'm more than happy to give my time to trying to get them better. Don't need to be any bands anymore. Although I worked with this artist Dean McPhee. And Dean McPhee is a solo electric guitarist. And he told me that on his new album, this is many years ago now, he wanted a gong, you know. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, Dean, I'll be your gong guy. you know, like we can go on tour together, and I'll sell the merch and play gong. You know, I was even like researching gong prices, but then it didn't. I don't know, nothing came of it. I'll have to tell him that I've told that story like 10 times.
I think gongs are pretty expensive.
Well, gongs can be very expensive, but they also don't have to be really expensive. I found gong like 300 quid, you know, sounds like a decent gong, but we can, you know, drive around in the hatchback, listen to drum and bass, sell some merch, do some experimental. Maybe next year, me and Dean. His music is fantastic, released on blocks and tapes. Dean Fee. If anybody wants to check him out.
Okay, Anthony, I think that we don't have much time left, and I wanted
questions from the audience.
I think that there are no questions.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry, just a moment, Masha.
I'm really sorry to interrupt, but there's one question. If you have about 100 demos, how do you choose what to listen? If it's impossible to listen to all of them, obviously. And what are the options that are important for you?
Basically, I don't get that sort of amount of demos. I know some other promoters get like inbox of demos. I've never been that bad, like maybe 10 or 20 a day. And so I've always just, sometimes, you know, can see on the subject line that it's not a band that you're going to be interested in, but generally speaking, I'll listen to them all. And in terms of what's the best format, somewhere I can just stream it, because I don't download anything. When you're listening to 20 things every day, or whatever, you can't download all of them to your laptop. It's just not feasible. So just Bandcamp's the best, SoundCloud's the second best, Dropbox is the third best. That's my power rankings of demo submissions.
There is one more question. What do you think? What are the main errors that musicians and promoters do, which decreases the level, like chance of getting to your podcast, for example, or
to my podcast,
like
well,
I don't know, maybe any other podcast.
I think the main mistake that bands and musicians can make in general is I don't know if this applies to getting to my podcast or something, is just doing music and being a promoter, generally speaking, is a crap job, right? It doesn't pay so well and it's hard work, but you do it because you love it, right? You try to make the music that means something to you, and you try to do shows that you work with artists you feel passionately about. And I think when you start thinking about I don't really like this, but I think people will like it. That is when I've done that. I've ended up doing shows that I haven't liked and nobody went as well. I'm not saying that every single band that I work with is my favorite band in the whole world. Of course not. But, I like them all in some strong way. And, I try to identify them from that. I would say on the podcast, what's really important is if people just listen to the podcast, so then you get an idea of the podcast, then they'll do some music or something which is clearly from someone who's never listened to the podcast. And I still reply to everything. Gareth, who the podcast with, he's just like, I have a lot of experience with saying thank you for getting in touch, but no, I can't play your music, because that's what I've been doing for the last 12 years. But just to listen, just so they know, what sort of a show it is about. And I don't know, just to be, the most common mistake is just the links don't work. That's really common. Like, here's my music, cool. And it's like, it doesn't work. It's just like,
But how do you pick up tunes to listen to? Sometimes you got like 100 songs a day, and what's the main mechanism of you clicking on a mouse?
Well, for the podcast, I just go through the inbox. I was doing it this morning. Hello, thanks for coming on the podcast. I click on the link. It's Bandcamp. I listen to it. I have a draft email that says good submissions. And if I like it, I copy it into my good submissions draft email. And then at the end of the day, whenever I'm going to record the podcast, I'll be like, oh, what should I play on the podcast this week? And I'll open my good submissions. I'm sure some people have like better systems than me, but I'm a draft email kind of guy. All of my raw power budgets, draft email. My ideas for what shows I've got coming, draft email. It's like, Anthony Show Ideas 2020 draft email. Like that's so I'll open that up and I'm
going to remember that.
That's how much am I supposed to pay all the bands for that thing? Draft email.
And we have a question from Newcastle. Yeah. Is Adam Sykes the sexiest man in rock?
Adam Sykes is an incredibly handsome man. Is he the sexiest person in rock? Well, that is hard work. He's up against some stiff competition. I'm going to say, I'm sorry, Adam Sykes is probably not the sexiest person in rock, but I would happily get into bed with him.
For those who don't know, Adam is a guitar player from the band
Pigs. Exactly. So it looks like we have someone from the Pigs related crowd in for the show, whatever we call it, in for the interview.
Yeah, Anthony, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this conversation with you.
Cool. Thank you for hosting. Thank you to IMI for having me. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope it was informative.
Yeah, sure. And hopefully the situation will improve in the next year.
I'm hopeful. I'm not hopeful. I'm more than hopeful. I'm definite. It's we're going to be all right. Just about when all of central London is empty and it's like a wasteland to regenerate it for a new artistic wonderland.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheers, Sasha.
Yeah. Cheers, Anthony.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
See you. Bye.